remember the first time I saw Madden in an arcade. Not John Madden himself, mind. Heck, not even Frank Caliendo. I mean the video game, which sold 11 bajillion copies on the everything and other consoles, suddenly taking up space next to House of the Dead and Pump It Up. The entire concept struck me as odd. Not necessarily that it's a football game, mind, I've played my share of 10-Yard Fight, but 10-Yard Fight was designed for arcades, as was the original Tecmo Bowl. Not the one you're familiar with, mind, as the NES port was miles behind its arcade counterpart. The arcade version ran on 2 monitors, had significantly improved sound and graphics, and supported up to 4 players. Though was missing one of the most important aspects of the Tecmo Bowl experience: the players themselves. It was the NES version that added the NFLPA license, so while the teams themselves weren't depicted, you still had Mike Singletary and Walter Payton in Chicago, leading to one of the most commonly seen screens in video gaming history. The PlayChoice-10 version is derived from the NES edition of the game, so it maintains the player names from that magical '88 season, though, like the home console version, the teams themselves are depicted a little more interestingly. Just look at the Denver cute anime girls there. What would Tebow think? And don't get me started on the Washington assemblage of rhombuses. Fortunately, the game makes the adaptation to the PlayChoice hardware rather nicely. The controls are very comfortable with the 8-way joystick, and, like most 2-player games, the select and start buttons aren't actually used, so their odd placement is an impediment to your enjoyment. What may be, though, if the game isn't set to free play, is the relative length of one game in terms of quarters. Especially when you consider the massive number of places to rent video games back in the day, probably cheaper than one game would cost you. Still, if you just wanted to sample the Tecmo Bowl experience for 25 cents, you might be able to score a touchdown or two and feel good about yourself as a person. Much like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tecmo Bowl's PlayChoice interpretation stands overshadowed by its own arcade predecessor, rare though it was. But this version has Joe Montana, even if he's playing for the San Francisco Robotic Falcons. It's important to recognize that these PlayChoice titles were most often just interactive advertisements for their home counterparts. If you're heading down to your arcade to plunk $1 in for one game of Tecmo Bowl, well, that's some dedication. But the real tragedy, we didn't get to see the Pittsburgh Hippogriffs, or whatever they would have been. Maybe the NES, or the PlayChoice-10 for that matter, just couldn't handle Merrill Hodge's taste in ties.